So we have discussed about the first relief features of India, that is Himalayas. Now we will discuss about the second relief features, that is Indo-Gangetic plains. How these Indo-Gangetic plains were formed? If you just recollect, in the beginning I told you about the geological background. After the Himalayas were formed, right? So the rivers were flowing from the Himalayas and there were large basins were already which was there. They were filled with the silt which were brought by these Himalayan rivers and deposited there, right? And in this way, the Indo-Gangetic plains were formed. So let us go in an elaborate way. If you look at the board here, I have drawn the important rivers which led to the formation of the Indo-Gangetic plain. So Indo-Gangetic plains were formed, right, due to the interaction of three rivers. Due to the interaction of three rivers, river Indus, river Ganga and river Brahmaputra. And this particular process took place around 200 million years ago when they were formed as basins. These particular rivers, they brought the silt, silt means sand. They brought the silt and deposited in these particular basins. There were large basins were there. So this particular silt was deposited in these particular basins, right? And this led to the formation of these Indo-Gangetic plains. If you know that Indo-Gangetic plains, these plains are one of the largest plains or the fertile lands the whole world itself. Come to these particular plains, Indo-Gangetic plains, a large portion, right, is present here in India itself. But when talk about the Indo-Gangetic plains, these Indo-Gangetic plains are broadly divided into three parts. One, the western part, the central part and the eastern part. It is divided into three parts. The western part, the central part and the eastern part. A large portion of the western part is in Pakistan. A large portion of the western part of this Indo-Gangetic plain is in Pakistan and a small portion of it is in Punjab, Haryana. It is in Punjab and Haryana. A small portion, right? And this particular western part is formed by the rivers of Indus and its tributaries. We can look at the board here. This particular western part is formed by the river Indus and its tributaries. What are the tributaries here? Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Beas, Satluj. Once again I will repeat it. Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Beas and Satluj. So these particular rivers led to the formation of the western part of the Indo-Gangetic plain. And where we see most of this Indus is located in the Pakistan region. Yes, you can see here. Even though the river Indus, right, takes its birth here in the eastern part of India, but it flows, a large portion flows through Pakistan and ends up in Arabian Sea. Okay, so a large portion of the western part of this Indo-Gangetic plain is present in the Pakistan. And the last point here, the fertile region. So we see here, there are so many particular rivers are there. Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Beas, like so many particular tributaries are there of river Indus. And between these particular rivers, fertile region is present and that particular fertile region is called as Doab. Right? You can see here, the fertile region formed between these rivers is called Doab. What is Doab? The fertile region formed between this region is called Doab. The fertile region, the region formed between these rivers is called as Doab. So Doab means fertile region. Okay, so hope you have understood about the western part of the Indo-Gangetic plain. Now next we'll go for the second part of the Indo-Gangetic plain, that is the central plains. So these central plains are also known as Ganga plain. Central plains is also known as Ganga plain. Why is it known as the Ganga plain? Because this particular portion or central portion is formed by the river Ganga and its tributaries. The central plains are formed by the river Ganga and its tributary. That's what is called as a Ganga plain also. Right. And this is extended from river Ghagra to river Teesta. River Ghagra, not that Ghagra what we wear. Ghagra means name of the river. So here is name of the river. The Ghagra is here. Where? In Uttar Pradesh, right? And whereas where is Teesta? Here, right? River Teesta. So it is located between Ghagra to Teesta, the extension of the Gangetic plains, right? And you can see these particular plains are formed or present in the places of Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal and Jharkhand. In these particular places, we can find the central plains. Hope you understood the central plain also. Now next we'll go for the eastern part. Where's the eastern part? Here. On the right side of the map is the eastern part. You can see the river Brahmaputra also. Yes, this river Brahmaputra is the main reason for the formation of these eastern plains or eastern part of the Indo-Gangetic plains. Right? What is the main responsible for this particular formation of the Indo-Gangetic plains? Eastern part of the Indo-Gangetic plains, river Brahmaputra. So you can see here, this particular eastern part of the Indo-Gangetic plain exists mostly in Brahmaputra Valley of Assam. Where is Brahmaputra Valley? In Assam. Here is Assam. Can you see? I can have mentioned over here Assam. Here is Assam. So here is Brahmaputra Valley, right? And river Brahmaputra is mainly responsible for its formation, right? So these are the three broad divisions of Indo-Gangetic plains. So, discuss about the three particular broad divisions of the Indo-Gangetic plains, right? So, as these rivers are flowing, they carry along with them the pebble sediments and they deposit this gravel in a narrow belt. They deposit in a narrow belt. So, this particular narrow belt, right, narrow belt, okay. So, the rivers what they are flowing, what they do is, they bring along with them what? When they are flowing, usually they bring mud, silt, we say silt. And with the small stones also, usually we have seen in the aquarium, very soft particular stones will be there. And they are called as pebbles, right? So, these particular pebble sediments, right, soil, so whatever soil is this, alluvial soil, right? So, they are brought and deposited in this particular belt of 8 to 16 kilometers of width, found parallel to the foot of the shivaliks known as Bhabar. So, this particular, right, narrow belt, this 8 to 16 kilometers of narrow belt, right? So, this particular belt is called as what? It's called as Bhabar. It is called as Bhabar. So, what is Bhabar? Bhabar, right, is formed due to the rivers flowing, right? They bring this gravels and pebble sediments and deposit in the 8 to 16 kilometers of narrow belt, right, which are present at the foot of the shivaliks, and that's why it is called as a Bhabar. Now, what actually is Bhabar? Right, it's a narrow belt where the river is flowing. So, this Bhabar is in what type of nature? It is in porous nature, porous, right? And here, as this particular Bhabar, right, is, right, moving towards the south over here, right? So, at the end of this particular Bhabar, an area is formed, a fertile region is formed, which is called as Terai, Now, what is Terai? Terai is a swampy and marshy region. It is a region with fertile soil. What of soil is present here? You can see here, fine alluvial soil is present, right? Marshy region means it consists of thick forests, right? So, where this particular terais are formed? At the end of the Bhaber. That is called as a Terai. So what is Terai? A swampy and marshy region is called as Terai, which is formed at the lower areas of Bhaber. Right. So this is about the Indo-Gangetic plains which have been formed around 200 million years ago, right? And now when talk about this particular region, many people, right, moving toward this region, usually there are thick forests are there. Thick forests are there. What they are doing is they are cutting down the forest. Why? Because the alluvial soil which is present is very fertile, and they are cutting down it and they are raising or they are doing agriculture over there. So many people are migrating to these particular places, and we can see the example of Sundarbans. Sundarbans also is one of the Terai regions, right? And we can see that is present in the West Bengal and in Bangladesh. These Sundarbans are present. Now next we'll go for the topic Peninsular Plateau. Peninsular Plateau. Right. This is the third particular relief features of India. Now, where is Peninsular Plateau? Now, if you look at the board here, the map, right. So, from here is a Peninsular Plateau, from here to here. So, this particular triangular shape, right, what you see is the Peninsular Plateau. So, this Peninsular Plateau is also called as a Indian Plateau, or you can say Indian Plateau also is also called as Peninsular Plateau. Now, why it is called Peninsular Plateau? Because the water is on the three sides: Bay of Bengal, Arabian Sea, and Indian Ocean. Right. So, why it is called as the Peninsular Plateau? Because it is consisting of water on the three sides, or surrounded by water on the three sides. Surrounded by the water on three sides. That is why it is called as Peninsular Plateau. Now, let us learn more about this Peninsular Plateau. How this was formed? If you go to geological background, I told you that this plateau was formed due to the volcanic eruptions. Some 600 million years ago, this Peninsular Plateau was formed and was present in the Gondwana region. So, this was formed due to the continuous volcanic eruptions, and that is why here we find black soil present. What type of soil is present? Black soil is present in the Peninsular Plateau. So, this Peninsular Plateau, right, is composed of old crystalline, hard igneous and metamorphic rock. So, what it is composed of? It is composed of old crystalline, hard igneous and metamorphic rocks it is composed of. And this particular plateau region, the Indian Plateau, Peninsular Plateau region, right, is largely consists of metallic and non-metallic minerals. What minerals? Metallic and non-metallic minerals. And this plateau, right, you can see here, they have a shallow valleys with rounded hills. Yes, it has, you can see there are so many valleys are present here. The Narmada Valley is present there, right? Mahanadi Valley is present there. So many particular valleys are present. Many rivers are flowing, and there you can find the valleys also are present there, and which are surrounded by hills. There are many hills are there, my dear children, right? Maikali is there, right? Vindhya ranges is there, Satpura ranges is there, Sahyadri ranges is there, right? Then we come down also, there are many ranges are present or hills are present, right? Means this Peninsular Plateau is surrounded by round hills. Okay, next point, the topography is slightly tilted toward the east. Yes, if you can see, this particular topography is not straight, right? It is quite tilted. So this side it is tilted. So what is happening? The rivers which are emerging from here, for example, Godavari is there. Godavari starts in the west and flows like this. See here, it flows like this towards the east. Means towards the east direction, this Peninsular Plateau is slightly tilted. That's what the rivers like Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, they all which are emerging from the west, they end up in the east. Why? Due to the tiltation of the plateau towards the east, right? And this plateau, right, on the east and the west, it has edges, right? On the east, Eastern Ghats, on the west, Western Ghats. We can see the boundaries also. We can see the boundaries of Peninsular Plateau is Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats, and the southern tip of the Peninsula Plateau. The southern tip of the Peninsula Plateau is Kanyakumari. The southern tip of the Peninsula Plateau is Kanyakumari. The western edge, Western Ghats, the eastern edge, Eastern Ghats, and the southern part of the southern tip of the India is Kanyakumari. And this particular plateau is divided into broadly two divisions. It is divided, right? You can see here, this Vindhya ranges divide this Peninsula Plateau into two divisions. One is the Malwa Plateau. The second is the Deccan Plateau. So this is the Deccan Plateau, children. This is the Deccan Plateau. This is the Deccan Plateau. Right? And here is the Malwa Plateau. Okay? Right? So this particular Peninsular Plateau is divided into two divisions. One is the Malwa Plateau, which is also called as Central Highlands, and the Deccan Plateau. And more to talk about this, this particular Peninsula Plateau, right, consists of other particular plateaus also are there. For example, on the east of the Malwa Plateau, we have Chota Nagpur Plateau. Chota Nagpur Plateau. Chota Nagpur Plateau. So this Chota Nagpur Plateau, which is present on the east of the Malwa Plateau, is rich in mineral resources. Is rich in mineral resources. Okay, and little more information, important information of this plateau is that this plateau, right, has rivers, but they are not perennial rivers. They do not have a perennial flow. Why? Because they dry up during the summer season. Where you see in the Indo-Gangetic plains, I told you the river Indus, Ganga and Brahmaputra are there. They flow throughout the year. Why? Because they have the source from the Himalayas. The ice melts and they flow as water. But whereas here the plateau region, these rivers are not perennial, right, rivers. They dry up during the summer season. Okay, and that's what most of the people who do agriculture here, right, they are depending upon the tanks and tube wells. They are dependent on the tanks and tube well for their second crop. Usually they can grow first crop. First crop they have plenty of water from the rivers or from the rain. But for the second crop, they cannot depend on the rivers. Why? It gets dried up and they have to dig the bore wells and they have to get the water. So this is what is about the Peninsular Plateau. Now we will discuss about the Deccan Plateau. So we have discussed about the divisions of Peninsular Plateau, that is Malwa Plateau and Deccan Plateau. But if you talk about the elaboration of Deccan Plateau, this Deccan Plateau is a triangular landmass. It's a triangular landmass which is lying to the south of the river Narmada. It is lying to the south of the river Narmada. This is, okay, you can see here, river Narmada here is flowing. Can you see this river Narmada? Right? And here to the south of this river Narmada lies the triangular mass which is called as a Deccan Plateau. And Satpura ranges, which forms the eastern edges, Kaimur, Mahadev and eastern edges, right? So the Satpura ranges forms the northern edge, Kaimur, Mahadev forms the eastern edges, then the Western Ghats, the Eastern Ghats, right, forms the eastern and western boundary, and whereas Nilgiris forms the southern boundary of the Deccan Plateau. Once again I will tell you, the Satpura forms the northern edge, Kaimur, Mahadev form the eastern edge, Eastern Ghats, Western Ghats and Nilgiris form respectively the eastern, western and southern boundary of the Deccan Plateau. Now, next we'll discuss about the Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats. So, the Deccan Plateau, right, has a boundary, that is Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats. So, what is the specialty of these Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats? We'll try to learn in a elaborate way. So, I have written here in a point wise here. So, differentiating both the Eastern Ghats and Western Ghats. So, you can see the points very clearly over here. So, Western Ghats. These Western Ghats runs parallel to the west coast. It runs parallel to the west coast. Western Ghats are continuous with few passes. You can see here, I did not break anywhere. So, it passes continuously. It passes continuously with few passes. Passes means what? Passes means routes. A natural route, right? Prepared for traveling from one place to another place. So, these passes are there, natural passes are there, so that they can enter the eastern plains, isn't it? Then, these particular Western Ghats are higher than the Eastern Ghats, and the average height here is 2000 meters. The average height of the Eastern Ghats is 2000 meters. Then it extends to 1600 kilometers. The Western Ghats, they start from Gujarat and end near Gudalur in the Nilgiris. They extend from the Gujarat to Gudalur near Nilgiris. Then Udagamandalam, you can see this is one of the famous particular hill stations in the southern part of India. Usually we call it as Ooty. Many people, they go during the summer season. Why? Because it is located at a higher altitude. In summer also you can find a very pleasant climate there, and that's what people go. So, where is Ooty present? In the Nilgiris. So, this Ooty is also known as Udagamandalam, present in the Nilgiris. Duda Beta is the highest peak. Duda Beta is the highest peak in the Western Ghats. Now, where is Duda Beta? Duda Beta is here. Duda Beta in the Nilgiris. Duda Beta is in Nilgiris. Duda Beta is in Nilgiris. Okay. So, Duda Beta is the highest peak in the Western Ghats, and in the southern part of India, Annaimudi, just to the south of Duda Beta, we have Annaimudi. Annaimudi is the highest peak in the southern part of India. So, this is about the Western Ghats. Then what about the Eastern Ghats? Right? It says the Western Ghats are continuous. But are the Eastern Ghats continuous here? No. They are broken. Why they are broken? Because in between there are many rivers are flowing. They are cutting this particular Ghats. And that's what they are not continuous. So, Eastern Ghats, they start from Mahanadi Valley to Nilgiris. Mahanadi Valley. Right? Here is the river Mahanadi. So, they start from the river Mahanadi and end up, right, where? In the Nilgiris. Ghats are not continuous. The Eastern Ghats are not continuous. These rivers which originates, for example, river Godavari, river Krishna, right, river Kaveri, these all they emerge, right, they all emerge in the Western Ghats and end up in the Eastern Ghats. So, they cut through the Eastern Ghats. The average height in the Eastern Ghats is 900 meters. The average height of the Eastern Ghats is 900 meters, whereas average height of the Western Ghats is 2000 meters. The highest peak in the Eastern Ghats is Aromakonda in Chintapalli in Andhra Pradesh. Aromakonda. How much is the height of this Aromakonda? It is 1680 meters. But if we talk about the Western Ghats, Duda Beta is the highest peak. with a height of 2637 meters height. Then many more hills also, hilly tracks also are present, like Nallamalas are there, Palakondas are there, Vellikondas are there, Seshachalam hills also are present in these particular Eastern Ghats. Hope you have understood about the Peninsula Plateau in an elaborate way. If at all, if you have doubts, you can refer your textbook for more details. So, we have discussed about the Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats and what are the importance of the Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats. Now, we'll go to the next particular relief feature of India, that is the Thar Desert. Where is Thar Desert? Do you have an idea? You may be thinking yes, because you are in the 9th class, you are in the 10th class, you may be saying yes, it is in the Rajasthan. Yes, but in which particular part of Rajasthan? It is to the west part of the Rajasthan. Means what direction you will write. So this Thar Desert is located on the leeward side. Leeward means what? This is a mountain. This is a mountain. Leeward means what? Where rain does not occur. When rain does not occur, that particular part is called as a leeward side. So, Thar Desert is on the leeward side of the Aravalli Ranges. Aravalli Ranges. Where is Thar Desert? Thar Desert is located on the leeward side of the Aravalli Ranges. Right. Then, if you look at here, this is a desert. Desert means what? Where you do not find much rainfall, right? It's completely rocky, sandy type of soil you find there. Very less vegetation is present over here, right? So here in this particular Thar Desert, this desert, it receives about a rainfall of 100 millimeter to 150 millimeters per year, which is not all sufficient, right, for growing any kind of vegetation here. Then it consists of undulating sandy plains and rocky outcrops in the western part of Rajasthan. Western part, this is called as the western part of Rajasthan, right? So here we cannot grow any type of crops over here. It is very hot, very less rainfall is present in the western part of Rajasthan. Then it has arid climate with low vegetation climate. Yes, if it is very less rainfall there, then how can vegetation can grow over there? It cannot. So what happens? Because of the less rainfall, vegetation, even the grass also cannot grow in this place. That's what's an arid type of climate. Soil is completely dried up. Then streams appear during the rainy. Means many rivers, small rivers, lakes, right? They emerge during the rainy season, but within a short period of time, they also disappear. It is due to the high temperature. Then, which is the only river present here? River Luni is the only river which is present in this desert. See here, I am marking the Luni here. River Luni. River Luni. So this is the only river which flows in this desert and does not reach any sea. If you take Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, Narmada, Tapi, or you take Mahanadi, Ganga, Indus, Brahmaputra, there are so many rivers are there. They all end up in the seas. But this is the only internal drainage which does not end up in any of the seas. So this is the relief feature Thar Desert. Hope you have understood about it. So we have discussed about the fourth relief feature of India, that is the Thar Desert. Now we will go for the coastal plains. So coastal plains also are one of the important relief features of India. So these particular coastal plains are formed by the rivers. So now let us differentiate between the coastal plains. So when you come to the coastal plains, on the west we have the western coastal plain. On the east we have the eastern coastal plain. Are both the planes same? No. Do they start at the same place? No. They start at a different particular places. So let us learn from where they start and what is the importance of that. So the western coastal plains, they start from Rann of Kutch. Here is Rann of Kutch. So the western coastal plain, they starts from Rann of Kutch and end up in Kanyakumari. They start from Rann of Kutch and end up in Kanyakumari. Next point, say it is narrower. The western coastal plains are narrower. Western Ghats were broader, but western coastal plains are narrower and they are broken by the hills. Somewhere there are hills are there. Hills are there, and because of these hills, these particular plains are not continuous, but they are broken. Plains, right, is an uneven and broken hilly terrain they have, and moreover, it can be divided into three parts. The western coastal plain is divided into three parts. The first part, that is the Malabar. You can write Malabar coast, Kerala. Second one, the Canara coast, Karnataka. And whereas the Konkan coast, it lies between the Goa to Maharashtra. Goa to Maharashtra. Okay, so the western coast is divided into three particular parts. One is the Malabar coast in Kerala, right? The Karnataka coast, which is called as the Canara coast, and whereas the Goa and the Maharashtra coast is called as the Konkan coast. Talk about the eastern coast. Is there any kind of differences there in the eastern coast? Yes, there is a lot of differences there, right? Whereas in the western coast, it says it's a narrower, but whereas this one is broader. So eastern coast, it starts from Mahanadi Valley in Odisha. It starts from Mahanadi Valley in Odisha and cover to Kaveri Delta in Tamil Nadu. So it covers up to Kaveri Delta in Tamil Nadu. They are broader. These plains are formed by rivers. The coastal plains, eastern coastal plains are formed by the rivers, and that's why they are very fertile. Now why they are very fertile? Because these rivers, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, Tungabhadra, Mahanadi, this all the rivers, they bring along with them the silt and deposit here. That's why very fertile soil is present here in the eastern coast. That's why the granary of India is in the south, right? That is why, that's what. So these coastal plains are known by different names, right? Locally, these coastal plains are known by different names locally. What are there? The Tamil Nadu coast is called as a Coromandel coast. The Andhra Pradesh coast is called as a Sarkar coast. The Odisha coast is called as a Utkal coast. Similarly, in the Western Ghats, we have seen that they also are known by different particular names. So, Eastern Ghats also are known by the different local names: Coromandel coast, Sarkar coast and Utkal coast. Any more specialties there? Yes. These plains, the eastern coastal plains, are agriculturally well developed as the Indo-Gangetic plains are developed. Moreover, they are rich in fishing resources. This coast is very rich in fishing, right? So it is quite, we can understand that the eastern coastal plain is quite much, right, beneficial than the western coastal plains. So the last topic of the lesson is the sixth relief feature of India, that is the islands. These islands are also called as archipelagos, means islands. So these islands, which are far away from the Indian landmass, are they part of India? Yes, they are part of Indian territory. Okay, so islands, right, of India are of two. One is the Andaman and Nicobar Island and the other is the Lakshadweep Island. Andaman and Nicobar Island is stretched in the Bay of Bengal. So this is Bay of Bengal Sea. Right. So Andaman Nicobar is stretched in the Bay of Bengal Sea, and whereas Lakshadweep Island is stretched in the Arabian Sea. Is there any kind of differences there in both of these? Yes. Right. The origin of these islands are different. Andaman and Nicobar Islands are of volcanic origin. Means this Andaman Nicobar has been formed due to the volcanic eruptions. For example, take Narcondam and Barren Islands. They are still the active volcanoes in these islands. Narcondam and Barren Islands are the islands where still the volcanoes are still active. So that's why these islands are volcanic origin. And more talk about the Andaman Nicobar Island, right? So these islands is an elevated portion of the submerged, right, portion of the mountain Arakoyama, right? So this is Myanmar, right? Here is Myanmar, right? So this particular Andaman Nicobar, right, it is an elevated portion of the submerged, the river, the mountains were submerged, and these particular mountains have been, these islands have been formed. Then these islands, already told you, is an volcanic origin, and moreover, the southernmost tip of the India, where it is present? Here. In the beginning only I told you, the southernmost tip of India is what? Indira Point. So here is Indira Point. Is Indira Point still present in the Nicobar Island? No. It has been submerged in the 2004 tsunami. 2004 tsunami took place. Right? What happened in that particular tsunami? This Indira Point submerged. The island Indira Point submerged. But still Indira Point is considered as the southernmost tip of the India. Then what about Kanyakumari? Kanyakumari is the southernmost land, right? We can say southernmost tip of the land mass of India. That is what? Southernmost land mass of India. But whereas the southernmost tip of India is Indira Point. So this is what is about the Andaman Nicobar Island. And whereas talk about the Lakshadweep Island, as I told you, right? It is stretched in the Arabian Sea, right? These are coral reef, right? Means coral origin. They are formed because of the dead plants and animals, right? Okay, and where the total geographic island, you can see this particular Lakshadweep are very small island, and it completes in 32 square kilometers of area. But whereas the total length of, or you can square kilometers of Andaman Nicobar may be around 250 square kilometers. Whereas this one is only 32 square kilometers of an area. And whereas what is the most famous or popular thing about Lakshadweep is that it is famous for variety of flora and fauna. Many different kinds of plants and animals are present here, and that's what many people, right, they go as a particular tourist places in Lakshadweep, because flora, beautiful variety of flora and fauna is present. And at last, to conclude with this particular topic, I hope you have understood the topics very clearly, right? And reading the textbook also is very, very important. And as we have learned about this particular topic, that is India and relief features, what we have understood is that India is a country. It's not a country, we say as a subcontinent. It's like continent, right, where different land masses are present. Mountains are there, plateaus are there, plains are there, deserts are there, islands are there, many rivers are flowing. So different physical features are there, and that's what we say India is known for unity in diversity, diversity in different forms. Many particular places are there where the rivers are flowing, where agriculture is very developed. There are some places are there where rivers dry up and people depend on the tanks and tube wells. So there in some places irrigation is very developed and some places irrigation is not so much developed. It is due to the climatic conditions or due to the diverse forms of our country.